I'm Monica A. Coleman, the author of Making a Way Out of No Way, A Womanist Theology, and welcome to my Facebook fan page. In Making a Way Out of No Way, I talk about this African American religious expression, right? God is one who helps us to make a way out of no way. We talk about making a way out of no way, and so I really want to say, what does that mean today in our current context of globalization and religious pluralism and sexual diversity? So that's what I'm trying to do in this book, and I'm bringing together the work of womanist religious scholars and process theologians with a bunch of other fun stuff, I think, to talk about how we can make our way forward in today's society and how we can make the world a more just place. In the first chapter, I look at what womanist theologians have said about salvation. And those are basically the theologians whose work has really focused on Black women's religious experiences and how have they talked about salvation. A lot of people like this chapter because they think it's a good summary of some of the leading womanist theologians and their work about Jesus and their work about salvation. In the second chapter, I talk about a postmodern theology, which is basically what kind of framework do we have for thinking about the world given all the exciting things we know about our current society, given everything we know about science and technology and globalization and the internet. How do we think about the world, and how do we think about our own agency and our own abilities to affect things, and how do we think about God? And I use process thought to do that, and process thought is a philosophy that talks about how things are always changing and how we relate to God and each other in the midst of all of this change. And so I use process theology to do that. And some people find this chapter to be a really helpful introduction to process thought and what process thought has to say about the world. In the third chapter, I talk about a concept that we call creative transformation, which is almost a fancy word for making lemonade out of lemons, and how it is that we change the world in positive ways to be a more just vision of what we think God wants the world to be and how we would like the world to be. So that's good for the most people, the way that we can serve the common good. And I talk about that that's what making a way out of no way really is. It's a way in which we interact with our past and interact with what's possible in order to make the world a better place. In the next chapter, I talk about the ancestors, and this is just so close to me because it's such an important part of my spiritual heritage. And so for some people, the ancestors may just be a grandmother that you've had that's passed on, and some people have religious beliefs that are really extensive ideas about ancestors, whether that ancestor is Jesus or that ancestor is another figure, or maybe multiple figures, or gods or goddesses, or those who have gone on before us. And I talk about how it is we learn from the past, and how we look at the past and we see things that were not very helpful, so we don't want to repeat those, and how we can learn from the past and the things that are helpful to help us to move forward, and how we can draw power from that. And I conclude that this gives us a kind of communal theology that tells us that we experience God's grace and God's salvation the most when we're in teaching and healing communities that help to make the world a better place. And I give examples of these within Christianity and outside of Christianity, in particular in Yoruba religion, which is an African traditional religion. I look at science fiction because I'm a big fan of Octavia Butler, and I look at her work, The Parable of the Sower, and what we can learn from that. And then I also look at a particular faith community in the Atlanta area called GSN Ministries, and how we can learn from this particular church about how to walk the way and how to love the way. And those are just really two examples. They're just little snapshots, and I imagine that as you read the book, you can think of communities you know, faith communities, nonprofit communities, things you've read that help to give us better pictures of how we make a way out of no way, how it is that we interact with God and our ancestors in the past and our vision for the future in order to make the best life that we can here on earth. So I hope that you enjoy Making a Way Out of No Way. If you haven't bought the book, please go to monicaacoleman.com and click on the link and grab that book up. If you have bought it, I'm glad that you're a fan. If you haven't, just click on that little link above and become a fan. And this page just gives you a chance to know more about what I'm thinking about process thought and about womanist theology, and if you like the book, and to interact with other people who have found some kind of resonance in this book as well. So thank you very much for being a fan, and I hope to hear from you via this fan page in some way sometime soon. Thank you.